Hi everybody, welcome to Heart Talk, coming to you live every Monday at 10 p.m. from Heart Knocks Training Center in Malaysia. My name is Danush, I'm your host tonight, and as the name suggests, Heart Talk is about authenticity, offering you a glimpse into our curriculum for full living, and what it truly means to live, lead, and love fully. Feel free to say hi, drop any questions in the comment section, and we'll get back to you. Right? So tonight we have Jeff again. Welcome back.
Thank you.
In a previous episode, Jeff kind of talked about how we'll talk a little bit about wisdom and his breathwork workshop and training at a later date. This is that session, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about wisdom of the heart. This is Jeff's breathwork training. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
Good. All right. Well, I think I referred to it in our other podcast where we talked about, but it was a time in my life where I needed to stop and look at, what I was doing. I was turning 60, and I said, our best years ahead of me or behind me, and my answer was behind me, and I said that's not good enough. So I started to explore, and I got in contact with a couple of people who introduced me to a kind of breath work that I found fascinating, found amazing for me. I would have done hundreds of personal transformational trainings myself in all kinds of settings, and in different kinds of experiences, very emotional, very powerful, very active. There's lots of things I did. But I realized that for the most part, my learning was emotionally and mentally. Dealing with my mindset, the way I think, the way I feel, all of that. And I was introduced to transformation needs to be embodied. And I thought, what do you mean embodied? And embodied means that it needs to be in our body. So when I started to look at that, what we find is that our breath is what can embody our experience. And so in Wisdom of the Heart, what we're focused on is not so much what you think or feel or anything, but let me give you this example. So right now, you and I are sitting here, and we are breathing.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I'm
not holding my breath.
That's right. And we want to keep breathing. Mm-hmm. So, but you realize that our breath, our breathing, is the only thing that we can do consciously and unconsciously. So, our digestion happens unconsciously. It's automatic. It's kind of our automatic system. Mm-hmm. Our liver, all those things that functions automatically. However, our breath is the one thing that we can consciously shift. And in shifting our breath, it shifts our internal state. Mm-hmm. It can shift our emotional state. It can shift our mental state. So what we do in Wisdom of the Heart is that we teach people how to use their breath to open themselves to the life force energy. Some people call it Chi, some people call it just life force, Kundalini energy, whatever you want to use. But there is I call life force energy that our breath initiates and generates. And so we're going to teach people a, a, a core, what we call transcendent breathing, so the transcendent breath work. And the intention of transcendent breath work is to have you transcend. Transcend means go beyond, go rise above the certain current state of consciousness. And the amazing thing about it is that it bypasses the mind. So the biggest barrier to transformation for people is our mind. You know, our thinking, you know, our doubt, our, you know, cynicism, our judgments, you know. So most of the time we spend a lot of time judging ourselves, judging others, being cynical about, well, it's not really going to happen, this doesn't really work. And so you're struggling with that when you're doing transformational work.
Right.
But in Wisdom of the Heart, it's teaching you how you can use your breath, and by using your breath, you can alter your internal state. In a previous podcast, we talked about there's two internal states, one of fear and one of love.
The one with the Master's course.
Right.
Mastery.
Yeah. So this internal state of love is what you can achieve using your breath. And so that's what it's about. It's how to use breath. We teach different breath work exercises. We have some exercises that are just, you know, very short, like you can do a minute, 2 minutes, and you can radically shift, you know, how you feel. If you're reacting to something, you can do a breath that can have you calm almost immediately. So it's giving people access and more control of, you know, their life and their emotional and mental state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're saying that this bypasses the mind, right?
Yeah.
And what are some things that I get that we're shifting an internal state and how I feel in the moment and things like that. And how does that affect, you know, what kind of benefits? Yeah, I think the key question is really what kind of benefits would that bring to people who do this work?
Yeah. Well, there's lots of benefits. So the first I would say is that, you know, if you think about it, you know, people can go about 40 days without food. It can go 3 or 4 days without water. But you can only go just a very short time without air.
Yeah, a few minutes.
So it's, you know, 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes maybe, you know. So this is a key, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a key learning that we've got to make is we've never been taught how to breathe.
That's actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So it's like, now you might say, well, everybody knows how to breathe. Excuse me. But actually, most people do not breathe in a proper way. Do not breathe in a way that really gives them the benefit that they need. So most people, the pretty what I would call shallow breath. So when they breathe in to their throat, maybe into their upper chest. You know, what we're going to teach is a deep diaphragmatic breathing, breathing all the way down into the diaphragm. So, and what this does, when you start to do this kind of breath, it activates the cells in our body. So every cell in our body has energy. And energy comes from, it's got to have oxygen.
Right.
It's an electrochemical process that takes place in the cell. For a cell to be alive and active, it needs oxygen. So if you think about over our life and we shallow breathe, you know, we're actually robbing our body of oxygen.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so one benefit is, there's many studies that basically say, and whether you believe this or not, I do, but a lot of people may not, but most cancer is because of lack of oxygen in the cells of our body. And so if a cell doesn't have oxygen, it dies. And that becomes the cancer. So one of the benefits of this deep diaphragmatic breathing is that you're getting oxygen to the cells of your body. By breathing into the diaphragm, 75% of the blood goes through our lower torso. So you're oxygenating the cells and going to every cell of your body. The blood's carrying it to every cell. So one thing, we call this breath work, it's a self-healing process. So by doing the breath work, there's a lot of physical benefits, which are, number one, you're reducing stress. Most doctors will tell you that 90% of illnesses are stress related.
Right.
Okay? So then how do you reduce stress? The one thing we have is by use of our breathing and learning about that, you can lower your stress level. And it's not, stress is not something that you can get rid of. There are stresses in life. You have, a family, you have your children, you're raising them, you've got financial pressures, you've got, work pressures, there's relationship. All life has stress. Stress is not so much about changing what's out there, it's about how do you respond to the stress.
Right.
And that's why breath work has become so valuable in my mind. And it's funny, right now it's kind of exploding all around the world, breath work. Everybody's talking about it. I've been doing it for about 15 years now, and I just, remarkable things I see have happened, as a result. So one is the physical. The other aspect of that, I noticed I have a long answer to your question.
That's okay.
I'm sure.
It's perfectly fine. So the physical, yeah.
But the other part of the physical is that it strengthens our immune system. So by learning this kind of breath, it actually is strengthening. So if you do have certain illnesses or things that come about, if you have a stronger immune system, it handles it. I could say that I've gone quite a long time without ever being sick. I travel on planes and all this, and you think you're going to get a cold or all that. I don't get it. Now, maybe I'm just lucky. Maybe it's just, I'm fortunate and my heredity is such that I don't get it. But I don't take a chance. I realize that by using breath work, I'm giving myself the best chance to be healthy.
Right.
So one is about our health, our well-being. That's why, one of the benefits of breath work. Now, the other couple benefits has to do with our emotional state. So if you think of your life experiences, every experience we have in life emotionally gets stored in the cells in our body. So if you have trauma, if you have something that happened where you were scared, it's like if you get scared, the tendency is you hold your breath.
Yep.
So when you hold your breath, you're actually locking in that emotion in the cells in your body. What happens when you do the breath work, getting oxygen to the cells opens the cell. And the oxygen is a higher energy form than what I would call toxin that's in the cell. A toxin can be emotions that we're holding. Toxins can be from things we eat. We have toxins in our food, in our air we breathe. So when you start to do this kind of breath work, it opens the cells and it releases those toxins, that negative energy. And so what people experience doing this is they come away feeling lighter, more free, and it's true because you're releasing things you held, So it's really quite powerful. Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So just one more thing, because you said breathwork is kind of exploding, and I've experienced that. I've noticed that. Right?
Yeah.
But to my understanding, breathwork's not a new thing.
No.
You've been doing this for 15 years, you mentioned, and there's a lot of different kinds of breathwork, right? Is that right?
Yes. You're right. It's not new. It's really ancient. From ancient India, China, kind of through a lot of yoga, yoga, things like that. There's a lot of breath work. This is a specific kind of breath work that we're doing. We're going to teach other kinds of breath work that can be used in different situations. But we're going to primarily focus on this deep diaphragmatic breathing because we call this transcendent breath work. So our focus is not just about the breathing. It's also about your mental state. It's about the context that you're coming from. So the wisdom of the heart is really about bringing all the work that we do and then bringing breath work to that. So that's what I call embodying. So for example, you can have this emotion of, let's say, fear, a fear of rejection, something like that. And so with that emotion, a lot of people, as they go through the programs, curriculum for full living, they let go of a lot of those past things, and which is great. At the same time, there is residue of that in the cells in our body.
Right.
And so people wonder why it seems like, well, gosh, I felt like I let go and then it's come back. It's back. So it's really about releasing that so that you have the experience of that in your body, not just emotionally and mentally, but you're now embodying transformation. So I thought I'd done everything. And then as I started delving into breath work, I found, wow, there's a whole nother level. And so I have a daily practice of breath work. And through that daily practice, it allows me to continue to transform, let go, open, So it's, I've really engaged in it, but it is not anything new. How we do it in Wisdom of the Heart, I think, is unique in what we're doing, but a lot of people do breath work.
Right. So can I kind of say that what you've done is kind of taken an ancient teaching and kind of put it together in such a way that it's palatable for the current society? Can I say that?
Yeah. I mean, it's integrating it to where people are now. I think people want access to transformation. They want to, how do you do this? And, breathing, is a simple way of engaging. So I just think it's a very easy way for people to get on the journey of transformation. Not only people that have already done a lot of work, they're going to be pretty amazed at what opens up through the breath work, but also it can be someone that doesn't know anything and can start doing breath work that opens up. So yeah, it's my new love, and it feels new, but it's now 15 years, so I guess it's not that new for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So thanks again, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think the graduates and all the viewers out there, I hope this was insightful for you, because you were definitely breathing all throughout this conversation.
Yes.
As you were watching us. So come, because this year we just did a Wisdom of the Heart in early May, right? So if you're interested, you want to find out more, feel free to talk to the staff at Heart Knocks again, and we'll take a look at when's the next one and how you can sign up, all your interests and all that stuff. Okay.
Great.
Right. So thanks, Jeff,
Yeah.
for being here and really giving us an insight to this.
Yeah. Pleasure being with you. Really.
So, okay, thanks everybody for tuning in to Heart Talk. See you next time for the next episode. And until then, remember, let your heart do the talking. Good night.